what's up, Scott Brother Imagination Creation Films, and today it is Friday. It is, what day is it? It's the 13th. Friday the 13th. Doesn't mean anything to me, just Friday. I saw the best meme about that one, but I won't say it. How is everyone? How are you? It's live stream time. That means it's time for you and me and everybody else to kind of just sit around and just have a little fireside chat without the fire, because that would be dangerous in here. It's all the good things and the fun things. Lots we can talk about. We got the IBC. Lots of announcements came out for that. We can talk about those Nikon red LUTs, the Canon C80. We can talk about my journey into learning about camera multi-tools and how what I thought wasn't what I thought, but that's how we learn. Where is the should be? Oh yeah, right there. 1 minute. There we go. Just making sure that I was live. We got to make sure of these things. Make sure that doesn't start playing. So, good afternoon. Everything's a little bit different around here, just slightly altered, and everything's in flux, and for lots of good reasons. And I will share the flux reasons in the near future. But it's constantly cleaning things up. Just lots going on, lots of happy. I don't like where this is. I'm so used to having my monitor right underneath here, underneath the camera, and then I could just kind of look straight ahead and kind of do this number. But right now I'm kind of doing this. I don't really need to, I guess. I guess I could just move it over ever so slightly. Yeah, there we go. Honestly, I could just use the confidence monitor there and just connect it to that. But we worry about the little things. We have the puppies are they're in like fighting mode, not fighting mode, but they're opposed. Neither one of them will show up on camera properly. So, yay, there's that. Kevin, hello, Kevin. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Is the weather starting to cool down up there? I hope so. We had a cool front. We actually slept with the windows open about a week ago. And then now, like today, I think it wants to be like 98 degrees. I don't know what they're thinking now. Let's see. What do we get to? 95. We didn't get to 98. Whew. Well, that would have been bad. It's it's hot in Texas. It's supposed to be August 20th, where I live, is where the average temperature of the day and night starts to kind of go down a little bit. And so we were looking forward to, August 20th. But here we are, September 20th, and it's going this way for different reasons, fun stuff. Frank! Hello, Frank. Happy Friday, Scott, and everyone. Happy Friday, Frank. Hope you're doing well. And Caleb, What's Happening is a great TV show. I really enjoyed that as a kid. I watched it all the time. Lots of fun with rerun. And isn't it funny that What's Happening had reruns before reruns? Or no, actually the reruns came before rerun. 98 degrees. Great boy, you're in. Well, we're all just making puns today, aren't we? Still pretty hot and humid up here. Wow, really? Hopefully everything is working today. We are no longer running off of the Mac Mini server. We're running on the little MacBook Air, which is right here, which is why partially things are all in a shambles or rearranged at least. Hopefully it should be just fine. I can't imagine why. Battery. Is it charging? Power adapter? Okay. Because it says it's 70%. I'm hoping it's because it's not trying to charge fast. So yeah, hot and humid. Nice. Not. I don't like humid. Don't like hot. Not my favorites. Cake says, good afternoon, Scott. I know your checkbook is upset with you since you're purchasing all these new releases. I am not purchasing all these new releases. I I do have my eyeballs on a couple of small things. We'll see. We'll see. The 96 in New Braunfels. Hey, you're up just a little bit. Remember, there's only one S in New Braunfels. Scotty, you going to be at Worst Fest coming up in November? I'll be there. I'll be there opening weekend. Jacobs, it's being a little slow. That's weird. Like when I click, it's like not popping up on the screen real fast. That's kind of annoying. I kind of want to move this over. I bet I can. Because really, I'm just confidence monitoring. I'm just going to edit things on the fly because, you know, I can. Yeah, that was the wrong cable. Hopefully everything is back. You should be hearing me good. Everything should be fine. Yeah, that was HDMI cable. That was the USB cable. Let me try this one more time. This time grabbing this other correct cable. This is why you're not supposed to, you know, change your live streams on, you know, live. But, you know, we do things a little different around here. Sometimes a lot different. Let's see what happens here. If I can do this, it'll make things a lot easier for me. Let's see. Hey, I like it. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it. There we go. There we go. Is this about the Red inventing multi? No, it is not about Red inventing multi-tools because Red didn't invent multi-tools. I mean, I knew it was a multi-tool. I just didn't know that they were around for bicycles forever and blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. Let's go back now that I can properly see everything nicely. That's nice. I like that. Your image is a little rough and fuzzy. Am I rough and fuzzy now? Have I improved any? Let's see if the dogs are rough and fuzzy. They are sleeping. We got this view. Whoa. Oh, hi. We got that one now, and then that's just temporary view. You know, the rough and fuzzy might just be me being old, so it's entirely possible. Hello, Zach. How are you? Hello from Twitter. Isn't it called X, though? I thought it was called X now. Chris says, I am ready to move on from my S1H, and I'm looking at Komodo. That's in my budget. Speaking image quality, what kind of difference can I expect? Any tips to help me cut through the noise when it comes to ISO DR? What's true and what's not? I'm also leaning towards the Red. Chris, are you looking at Komodo or Komodo X? Because surprisingly, there's a bit of difference when it comes to those questions you're having. Without a doubt, Worst Fest is a bit of fun. Yes, it is. Did I pre-order the 1200X? No, I did not. And soon I'll explain why, but it has nothing to do with how amazing the light is because it's pretty freaking amazing. It's, you know, it's basically Pro Light and Aputure technology combined, you know, and you get the super light. Hypothetically, if you had to shoot a project on film, would you rather shoot film and project digital or shoot digital and project film? I would rather shoot film and project digitally. That's how I'd like to do it. He was Rep Tap Troop. Bill's like, hello from LinkedIn. We'll get on Rumble. See if there's anybody on Rumble. There's not anybody watching. Oh, there's two people watching on Rumble. Maybe Bill jumped over there real fast. That must be for me pulling the USB cable. Yeah, that was fun. That's classic Scott right there. Felipe says, hi, Scott. Nice to meet you. Hello, Felipe. Was a bit compressed. Image might be fuzzy on your B cam, the C400. Ha! Nope, that's not a C400. It is a different camera, though. It is not the normal camera. This camera, wow, can't see it there. So this camera is the former camera that was the puppy cam. This camera is a completely different camera. And it's a different camera for me, too. So we'll see what that looks like. The OG Komodo. Okay, so your questions were, so if I recall, the S1H was a little cleaner, I believe, in low light. So what I would tell you, number one, is don't panic if you get noise on a Komodo, because you're going to get noise. It's not denoised. Black shade Komodo. Always black shade Komodo. It doesn't take very long. And then when it comes to dynamic range and such, use your traffic lights. Your traffic lights exist for a reason. If you're clipping your traffic lights on top, then you're not going to have any data there. And if you have any clips below, then you've got tons of noise, basically. Let's see, what else did you say? S1H is full frame, right? Isn't it? And then Komodo, so you're going to be at a Super 35 APS-C size sensor. ISO, I almost always shoot Komodo. This is Komodo right here. I almost always shoot it at 800 ISO, and I will push it to 2000. And if you're black shaded and you're feeding it enough light at ISO 2000, you shouldn't have to denoise, but you might. It just depends. And I've shot it up to 64, but I didn't like it even denoised at 6400 because you're losing a little bit of your quality at that point. But at 3200, a little bit of denoising, 2000, just ever so slight amount of denoising, and the picture's lovely. I shoot it almost always at LQ. It's quite nice at LQ. MQ is a little bit better. Cut through the noise when it comes to DR, what's true and what's not. Well, I mean, what things have you heard that are true or not that you're questioning? I mean, Komodo, shooting a red is fairly simple once you understand the basics, and that is you are not locked into ISO. But one thing is for certain, the higher your ISO, let me flip that around. If you want to shoot things that have a lot of highlights in them, like for instance, you're shooting a tree with shadows and there's a beautiful sky and you need to see the detail in those clouds more than the shadows, then you're going to want to bump your ISO up, put some ND on there, obviously. And doing that will remap middle gray to give you a couple more stops in the highlights, so you can manipulate that data a little more. If you're shooting into the shadows, you would typically, if you're shooting into the shadows and you need those shadows more than you need the highlights, then you would go down to, say, ISO 400, 200, somewhere around there. And the reason being that'll map middle gray it moves it up actually, to give you more stops of DR down below. But typically, in most cases, 800, and you're not going to have any problems. There's so much DR there. Komodo doesn't have, by today's standards, Komodo does not have an extraordinary amount of DR. In fact, it kind of went down compared to all the other cameras that were released by Red, which I think it's around officially 15 and a half stops now is what people are truly getting out of it. Whereas like Helium, Gemini, those were all 16 plus, and then Monstro 17. And of course now V-Raptor is way up there. So at 15 and a half stops, it's got a lot of DR, but it doesn't have a tremendous amount of DR. It'll have, I think it has more than the S1H, if I'm not mistaken. The S1H was like, what, 14? 13 and a half, 14? Yeah, so tell me the things that you're concerned with, and we can go into details on that. I just refreshed. Rough. Anyone else? I hope not. I hope it's clean. I mean, I can look. Let's see here. Oh, look, I'm live on my channel. Let's see. I am a little rough. Why am I so rough? Oh, look, I'm live on my channel. Let's see. I am not uploading. Oh, I wonder if my quality changed. Hold on. 1080p. Shows 1080. I'm going to drop it down to 720. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I'm going to go back up to 1080. Let me know if that made any difference. We'll see. DM Colorist. Hi. Hello. Let's see here. Evening of the Good. Hello, Ollie. How are you? Hope you're well. Yeah, so Scotty. Yes, X, old habit. After today, X's headquarters will be in... This is true. X is moving to Texas today, officially. So if Scott hasn't made purchases with all these sweet deals, he must know something worth purchasing is yet to be announced. There's always something yet to be announced, but, you know, we don't know what we don't know, officially. And people are starting to get smart and putting me under NDA. So that, you know, that makes it fun. What happened to the beard? You look like Uncle Jesse. Uncle Jesse. The wife did not like it. She would literally every day come in and go, I don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm like, so I went back to clean. You know, it is what it is. We have to make our loved ones happy. So I went back to clean. Why am I so it is what it is. Low resolution? Our loved ones happy. I am low resolution. That is weird. I can't end the stream. Why am I? I need to turn my. That is so. I'm gonna see if it'll clear up just by playing. Can't tell if this is Scott. Need proof of life. What should you let your life center around? Sourdough bread, and Alabama white barbecue sauce. I think is what it was. Oh yes, almost forgot. Black Magic 65. Yeah, that was pretty cool and appropriately priced. I'm glad that price is there. It could have been way lower, and it could have been way higher. And I think 30 grand is why is it so bad? Oh, I know why. That's a little sad for me. Didn't even think about that. I think it's the Wi-Fi because it's not hard wired. That's not good. I apologize for that. I will have to make an effort to fix. That's weird. Was it ever clean? Like before I pulled the USB, was it cleaner? I wonder. Yeah. DM Color says, yeah, Jen. Considering buying Firecrest Ultra NDs. He thought, I like Firecrest a lot. I think Firecrest makes them really good. I have the Firecrest IR-NDs, which are the previous gen. Love them. They're really good. I also like the Breakthrough. Also really top-notch quality. Zeiss Jena versus Leica R. I also see the new lights lenses that just got released. Even at 15 stops, you're still ahead of most mirrorless. Plus, you get RAW. This is correct. I would say the closest to Komodo, in my opinion, is the FX3 sensor, the FX6. I think that sensor doesn't. This is kind of annoying. I'm so Low resolution. What happens if I bump me down? I'm going to bump me down and see if I get better. I guess I'll have to look at it in a minute. Except the C70. Yeah, looks like 10p. No, I don't think it's you. I don't think it's you, Scotty. Ruben, hello. Chris says, thanks, man. Just coming from shooting on the S1H GH7, and I'm wanting to escape that digital look. You will definitely lose the digital look with the red. Yeah, it's there's no sharpening on a red, and that's really what it comes down to. So you actually get the natural. It got better, didn't it? 720 is better. I'm going to have to hardwire it. You actually get the natural sensor look without any artificial sharpening. Man, Santa Beard was, I know, I was really doing it well. Yeah, gotta keep the wife happy. This is true. Graphics are high res. So yeah, it's definitely my upload. And I don't have, it's funny, I don't actually have a Ethernet dongle for this. Huh. I have to order one. Rough from the go. Yeah. 720 makes it look better, though. That's weird. I guess it can't handle that bandwidth. Those Blackmagic Ursa City cameras look quite good. Was this the sensors developed by Blackmagic? The Ursa City, so those are the same design that they used in the past with their clear pixels, clear photosites. Have you guys heard of these hacking OMG cables, like a $200 cable that has Wi-Fi and scans your phone when plugged in? It wouldn't shock me. I have not heard of them. I'm sure Linus Tech Tips will do something about it and then probably get that demonetized as well. Yeah, that's wild. No worries, Scott. Audio is good. I know, but that's weird. Normally my audio sucks and my video is good. Is there a good speed? So that is a good question there, Christian, because I don't have an answer for it. And the main reason, I don't use speed boosters here. Not because I don't like them. I actually use the heck out of them with my GH5 back in the days. It's that I have catered all of my lenses to Super 35. So I don't, it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm going to turn on my fan. It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to get up. Relax. He's like, oh my gosh, you moved. You must want to do something together. What? It's okay. You just stay right there. Nope, that looks still splotchy, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. That sucks. I will apologize for the bad video. That sucks. I mean, it's right there. The Wi-Fi, it shouldn't be a problem, but it is what it is. The problem that exists with speed boosters, Christian, and the Komodo X is and we reach over and grab it. So on the, yeah, you're going to get to see it in 4 pixels. So inside there, which is really hard to see, if I can get it to, so there's the sensor, boop, and then around it is what they call flocking. It's black, anti-reflective, soft fibers that are glued on. And it basically cuts down on odd reflections. The problem comes in, that little shield that's on there, Every single speed booster that I'm aware of, God, that looks horrible. Every single speed booster rubs up against that flocking, and it'll actually kind of peel it off a little bit. Once it's on there, it's not the end of the world, but you could get flocking on your lens or on your OLPF or your sensor stack there. So that's the problem. If anybody knows of one that doesn't leave the ring of fuzz, golly, I feel bad now. I can't switch it over back to the old one. It's 100% the Wi-Fi, and I can't believe it's a problem. There's nothing I can do on Wi-Fi. Hardware, no, it's all standard. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, this is a MacBook Air M1. Interesting. I think we're reaching peak camera, almost like iPhone, where you see, yes, and we've talked about that on here as well, that we're at the point where the increments that happen are features and then tiny improvements in, say, dynamic range or capabilities and such, because we're reaching almost peak camera. We reached peak photography kind of maybe 6 years ago, and so everything photography hasn't really improved too terribly much. But video is, of course, behind. Yeah, we'll have to go on for long. Yep. I'm transported to a 2002 Handycam TMZ. Yeah, well, I mean, I got this little guy right here. I could just stream from this. It works like a champ too. It's awesome. Well, the second one, the first one broke in 3 seconds. Yeah, I'm literally trying to come up with a way to do hardwire, and I don't have anything with a hardwired Ethernet at all. So there's nothing I can do until I order one from Amazon. It got better, yeah, and then it got worse because, that's the way it works. I'm interested in y'all's thoughts on the Canon C80. Really? You just leaving? Fine. I'll just give it over to Oakley. There we go. The C80, I felt, was, it's kind of a miss. What are you doing? You just walking in circles? Oh, he's just laying on the carpet. Interesting. I mean, I can... Hi, Oakley. Quality doesn't bother you. Good God, it looks horrible. I'm going to switch it over, take off the puppy cam, just so you get full... All the pixels are focused on me. Less pixels on dog. It makes me sad. It's kind of like yesteryear. Yeah, man. I just did not think that would be a problem with Wi-Fi. I just didn't think that would be an issue. That is interesting, though, there. I'll dim that down. Fully dimmed down. There we go. Let's see. Chris says, on the Komodo, when it comes to shooting longer interviews, how do you deal with file sizes? Shoot ProRes? Oh, never, ever shoot ProRes. I just don't ever do it. You can shoot ProRes, but let me just tell you right up front. If you choose ProRes over LQ, your file sizes will be 2 to 3 times larger. ProRes is not awesome. Shoot in LQ for like interviews, talking head interviews where it matters. If it's a long presentation or like a long stage, you could go ELQ, and you get a lot more on that. but definitely don't do ProRes. I've had that problem many times, explaining to people, and sometimes, they're like hard-headed and they shoot ProRes, and then they're like, "Why are these files so huge?" You chose ProRes. And you don't even get the beauty and the allure of my wonderful. What are you doing, dog? Just lay down. This scares me. I'm shooting an important interview show for a client with a big name, and if the other split screen looks like this, can't do it. What? What are you talking about? What scares you? If the other split screen looks like this, I don't know what that means. Yes. The Veloscura speed booster. It's a RF to PL. Interesting. What I've definitely realized is that I don't want my life revolving around gear acquisition and holding gear. It's fair. I want my nice NDs and then rent everything for specific jobs. I agree with you. I tend to choose core functionality. I choose things that are things that I would use all the time. Those things I invest in. Everything else can be rented as required. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's my Wi-Fi. And I really don't know why. That's not better than it is, but it is what it is. Now the question is it charging now? Yeah. I have a lesser power plugged into it, and it was slowly draining my battery too. The Veloscura looks really good for the PL. For EF, I would go with Canon and Metabones for sure. But those will rub. Both the Canon and the Metabones rub the flocking on Komodo X. Also, security risk because computers that trust all devices that identify as HID or human input devices. Oh, yeah. I have to be careful because apparently YouTube has a real problem with even discussing that stuff. I think the Viltrox doesn't leave the ring, but it's discontinued. Interesting. Well, I think if it's an intelligent... there was a Viltrox that didn't leave the ring, you're right. But it was intelligent. And I believe the intelligent ones have to be licensed, and they weren't licensing. Veloscura had issues with Komodo X as well, and they're addressing the issue. On Komodo OG, it's all good, obviously. Yeah, Komodo OG did not have the flocking. That's so funny. It's sad too as well. I'm looking at I'm going to stop streaming it, just the hopes that it's better. Does sound good though. Well, thank you. Try streaming at a low resolution, compressed. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, I can go down even further. 480. We'll see what happens. I gotta click live. Yeah, I think what it is the restarts. So it's streaming that data rapidly, and then it's going, oh, I'm not getting it, and then it's restarting it, and it's starting up again. I have to see if I'm already past that point on the video because, yeah, I am. It looks horrible. Yeah. I mean, maybe I can move this if somehow this is affecting it. I can't imagine it is, but let's see. Does it get any better? What's weird, though, is that it's not... Come on, mouse. What is going on here? Let's see. I wonder if my CPU is like all clogged up. You know, that could very well be. Let's find out. Let's find out. Terminal, utilities, and we'll go down to activity monitor. What are we doing here? Finder. Now, why is Finder? Finder is consuming all of the resources. That's not good. And now let's see if it's any better. You know, we switched to a Mac on purpose because that other PC couldn't handle it. And now this one can't handle it? Really? It's got to be the Wi-Fi. Yeah, because it's not consuming. Well, if the audio is good, then it's not CPU. Because that was the problem we had with audio forever. All right, let's see here. Thanks for the help with my KX. Will any 5-pin LEMO to 3.5 cable let me plug in DJI? There is, so you have to be careful because there is one on Amazon that is angled and it's pinned the wrong way, so the angle goes back onto the Komodo itself, and that won't work. So you have to do that. Yeah, I could do that. Somebody said, do a speed test. Speed test that. There we go. I can do that. Finding optimal server because I'm Starlink. All right, let's see what I got. It should obliterate my that's pretty bad. That's got to be the Wi-Fi. I'm getting 20 down. But, you know, I wonder if it's the Mac, though. That's weird, because speedtest.net. Yeah, that's really bad. It's like 20 down and 4 up. But watch, I'm going to do it over here, and it's going to be way faster. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely this Wi-Fi. Wow. Because I'm getting, like, it was down to like 12 down and 3.5 to 4 up. Over here, I'm at 85, and I'm at 20, 18, 19. Way faster upload. But I can't host on my iPad. This is super dumb. Man, I can't believe we're back to having to diagnose Scott's live streams again, all because I wanted to change one little thing. Let's see, advanced, is there anything I can do? That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. All those are fine. Yeah, it just sucks. Well, that'll teach me. All right, let's try to endure as best we can. I'll make the live stream short if we have to. So yeah, you just need it's the same audio. It's as I believe the Alexa. So if you buy that one, it will work. C80 is dumb. Like, why now? What I feel like with the C80 is they crippled it on purpose, giving it only 6K 30, and then everything else you're going into 4K, If you want to do anything else, it's 4K. It just seems weird. That's so bad. Man, I'm literally going through my brain trying to figure out any way to make this faster. And there's no Ethernet there. I will order one live if I have to. USB-C. Nah. And I literally can't move it over back to the other one. It would just kill off all the connections. But I will have it resolved next time. That I can promise you. Because I'm going to order a docking station. 13p. All right. Well, we'll try to get to 14 here. Scotty, try to get them to OBS screen record if they can, perhaps. It's this old version of Wi-Fi is what it is, because I don't have that problem on anything else. The MacBook Pro, I live streamed the entire Red interview. Yeah, I'm all blocky. The entire Red interview was all done on that Wi-Fi, and it was fine. It's just this one, and I just didn't know this one had a crappy Wi-Fi. That's so odd to me, but I'll fix it. Blurry on YouTube. Yep. This is your Scott for you. Do it on both ends. Still prefer the C70 image by quite a distance. Yeah, and I asked Griffin Conway how much of an improvement percentage-wise did he feel the C80 was from the C70, and he said about 20%. And that's kind of what I was thinking, somewhere in that area, 15 to 20%, that, yeah, you gained full frame, and you gained an SDI port, and you gained like a couple other things, but you lost a lot. And they were asking about like a C70 Mark II. The C80 is a C70 Mark II if you're shooting Super 35. You're just going to go to 4K 60, you're cropping in, you're Super 35. Let's see here. So no CFX-B on C80. No, and that was dumb too. That they're going 100% to SD cards, and not great. I feel better. That's okay, Scotty. It's I only spent 4.5 years doing this problem on live streams. It was just not something new that I expected. I did not expect that. I did a test, and my test was fine beforehand, but obviously it's doing a little bit more right now. Any recommendations on channels or videos to watch to help me get going when it comes to Red? For a V-mount plate for the Komodo. For V-mount, look at the Mutiny. Mutiny is going to give you a full... really? It's going to give you a full breakout of everything on Komodo. Other than that, you could get the core plate. It's fine. I have the Tilta-Plate. People have mixed opinions on the Tilta-Plate. I don't have any problems with it. All three of those to me are good. The Tilta Advanced one has all the I/O. The core is basic. And then the Mutiny has everything. As far as recommendations on channels to watch, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on my channel here with Komodo on there talking about it. I don't think I did any of those specifically on like how to expose properly. I think I just did live streams where I talked about it, which are going to be hard to find. Hello from Zion National Park. Well, hello, Brandon. Are you enjoying your electric bus tour? I heard they got new electric buses. You have to keep on walking the road to Zion. It kind of makes me wonder if I switched to my phone hotspot, would it be better? But no, it couldn't be because it wouldn't have the Wi-Fi. Do you know if the Blackmagic monitor will work with a C400? I don't believe so. I believe the Blackmagic monitor is designed only for, if you're talking about the new one that they announced for Pixis, I think it's only for Pixis. However, their other monitor, you should be able to plug it in, but I don't think it's going to interface because the C400 has touchscreen. I still want the Komodo X, but we'll have to be at a later stage. For now, I've chosen the Pixel, okay, and the S5 2X as it is affordable, good image, and amazing anamorphic support. 3 most important things I need. Yeah, I mean, Blackmagic is fine. It's, I mean, it'll be nice when they ship it, but you know, it's a 13 stop. Good camera. It's big, but it's cheap. It's definitely cheap. Webble says, sorry to ask again. Do you know anyone with the new EVF upgrade that was just released? Is it recommended? So, Webbles, what that is 100% optics. It's still using the same old EVF, but the optics upgrade really open up what they call the eye relief. And if you're unfamiliar with eye relief, if you remember going back to when you were in school and you would look through a microscope, and the higher the power you would get, the more your eye had to be perfectly centered on a little tiny hole, and you're trying to get that centered. That's eye relief. So it's the size of the actual amount of light from the EVF that gets to your eyeball. The larger the eye relief, the bigger it is. And, you know, some EVFs, rather funny, when you have a giant optical block in there, you can actually kind of look around inside of it. It feels so big. That's what the new optics are, it's to reduce strain. If you live on EVFs all day long, you're going to want better optics, better eye relief, because it doesn't cause you to strain and have to look so perfectly at it. It's not intended for the average person. It's not intended for me. It's not intended for, honestly, it's not intended for 90% of Red owners. It's intended for the person that lives on it 24/7. It's intended for a large budget. It's just an optical improvement. And, you know, Jared said that on the live stream back, what was it? February, I think it was, way back when, January, when he was talking about the optics and the 5-inch monitor and all that. And he's like, you know, we're building this. He said, but the cost of it is going to be really large and it's not for everybody. We shared that with everybody. And yet everybody saw, like, it costs so much. You didn't pay attention. You could be hopping from 2G to 5G. It's got to be the internal airport or the MacBook Air Wi-Fi, whatever it is, because everything else I have around here has the next generation of Wi-Fi. I mean, I'm on a mesh network around the property. I've got plenty of bandwidth around. I mean, quite literally the iPad Pro right here, we just blew it out of the water with Wi-Fi. And I mean, it's just right. Well, let's see here. Whoop. So you see see that white thing right there? That is my Wi-Fi. So it's, I mean, it's right there. It shouldn't be an issue, except it's the airport or the MacBook Air. Do you know if something works? You don't yet. Yeah, well, I do, but I mean, there's lots of reasons. I mean, you can't really tell from here, but there's a lot changing. I mean, a lot changing. And soon, very soon, maybe a couple of weeks now, I will let everybody in on what's happening, and people will understand. Have you tried Red's new EVF? I have not. Turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone and other devices? I can do that. I don't think it's going to help. Oh, I'm going to kill off my Wi-Fi over here. All right, I turned them off. Let me know if it helps. I don't think it will, but totally that's my reason for why it's dumb. Why make it such a handicapped camera, especially in 2024? Yeah, Fred, I got Wi-Fi upload issues on this laptop. It's supposed to make life so much easier, and I literally have the cables to the other one right there. I just can't switch it out. Huh. The Viltron is still available? Is that the right one, though, Ollie? Because the one that worked is the one you can only find on eBay, I thought. Keep on talking about it. Not going to solve it, anything. Yeah, but Ruben, we love to try to solve things on the fly around here. Y'all got to let me know if it actually got any better, though. I can't tell because, let's see. Did it get any better? Yeah, I don't think it got any better. I'm going to do that so I can at least keep tabs on life. And hello, Peter. Good to see you out there. I don't think they see. Thanks, Jed. An idea. Hey, Michael Ballo. Hello. C70 Mark II will have glowing buttons like C400. There is no C70 Mark II. Y'all need to just accept that one. It ain't coming. Scotty V, just report problem when they occur. Don't hide away and cry for your. They will understand. Yeah, that was. It just got better, maybe 480p. Wild. Randomly improved? Was that after I mean, I'll turn it off. I just have no way of knowing. The whole world is cut off, and okay, fine. Let's see if that improves. Well, wait, what time is it? I don't know. It appears to be clearing up a bit. All right. Right now, I've turned off all the Wi-Fis, so you can type in the chat Wi-Fi, better, worse. And that way I'll know when I get to your comment if it improved it. I'll leave it off for the moment. Yeah, the C80 is an odd duck. It is an odd one. There's no way around that. What's the matter, Oakley? It is a big football potato. It's a russet potato cam. Not quite as big as, say, the Pixis, though. The Pixis is pretty big. I've seen the Pixis. It's huge. I'm going to get a chance to see it in person next week as CVP is doing the event I'm going to, so I'll actually see if it's comfortable for me. But I'm not sure if we can film with it. You should be able to. I don't think they've been restricting people on that. I'm talking about the Pixis. Oh, okay. That would be interesting if they won't let you film with it. That would be interesting, oddly. Jacob prefers Gemini over DSMC 3 sensors. It punches way harder than a Komodo X. Interesting. I would love to hear where you think the biggest like of the Gemini is over Komodo X, like specifically in the image itself. What is it that you like? I'm not saying you're wrong because it doesn't matter. We like what we like. You know, it's the thing. I'm interested in hearing what other people think. Do you know any good L-mount Indie adapters? There aren't many options out there for L mount. I hope Blackmagic switched to RF or E in the future. Something similar to the kitty mount. I don't know of any drop-in L mounts. I wonder, what's that purple one? The purple one that everybody goes to? That might be something worth considering if they make it. I don't know. I can't surf. I turned it all off for you folks. Image is clear. Interesting. Can I dream about the C? You can dream about it, yes. But I'm telling you right now, if you want the C70 Mark II, buy a C80 and just run it in 4K. Yep. Wi-Fi better. Well, son of a gun. That's weird. It's totally weird. All right, I'll leave it off. I have no idea what's happening outside. Actually, they're all emulating 5G right now. I don't have cell phone out here, so it'll be fun. Okay. It's definitely something with Wi-Fi and interference, and once I do the Ethernet, it won't be an issue. Thank you all for troubleshooting with me. I appreciate it. Terry, Wi-Fi crystal clear. Well, son of a gun. I kind of want to keep playing with it now and find out what it is. I wonder if it's this iPad. I wonder if it was, because it's right next to it, I wonder if it was blasting it. I don't know. Don't forget, Gemini was one of their top-end cameras at the time. Fair to compare it against the Super 35 Raptor today, but DSM-C2 sensors have a special sauce. There's some Gemini has a fun story. Are all of y'all familiar with the Gemini story? If you're not familiar with the Gemini story, put it in the comments down there, and I'll tell that story when I get to that point in the comments. It's an interesting story how it came to exist. Let's see here. I'm going to make a video about the Pixis if they let me film and get the footage. If not, I'm not going to come up with videos of the wedding community. I'm not going to make them mad. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to turn down my brightness a little more. There we go. The Poco is the only one I think it's PL to L. Interesting. I wonder why that is. I wonder if there's just there's probably not a market for it, to be brutally honest. Mofage, yeah, thank you, Ollie. That's the purple one. Nah, I'm cool with my R5C and C70s. Yeah, I mean, that's a good, powerful combo. It still shoots just quite well. iPad is my best guess. Try it again. I don't want to turn the iPad on. How about I'll turn on the iPhone. There. It's turned on. It's over here. We'll leave that one. Okay, good call, Petey. Yep. Yeah, Peter's a good dude. Y'all should subscribe to his channel. He does a lot of great. He does what I can't ever seem to do, and that is, and I know how he does it now. I just literally clicked. But he films every setup that he does when he's going to set up for clients and shoots and such. He's filming everything, but he has a GoPro on his head or his chest mount or whatever it is, and that allows him to film it. But he does a lot of behind the scenes of setups, really good lighting stuff. Peter does a really good job on his channel. Probably has way more subscribers than I'll ever have. I literally tried it. I had a shoot, not yesterday, but the day before, and I was going to shoot it on 360 cam. And we got there, and immediately they threw a curveball and changed up the entire plan that we had. And so my attention was on that, and I couldn't set up the camera, and I was like so mad. It's funny. We'll see if I can do another one. Tell the story. All right, Gemini So basically, a space company, a large, huge space company, needed some sensors that were raw and very low light capable. So they went to Red and they contracted with them and said, "Can you develop a sensor for us?" And I forget the number. I think they only needed to make like 4 or 6, something like that. It was very few, but that's all they needed. They needed 4 or 6 of these very special cameras that were going to be low light. So Red went to the sensor engineers and they rammed one through rapidly. It was a completely different design so that they could build in that low light mode. And they built it. Now, when you print a wafer of silicon with all the sensors on there, you don't just print 4 sensors. You fill the wafer because you've bought the wafer, so you might as well fill it out. So they did the wafer, and I forget how many it was. They released like 20. They had 20 extras or something like that. And so I have to get Jared on here one day to really kind of tell the story. We'll get him back on here to tell that from the past. He might enjoy that one. But they had these extra 20. And so they said, well, let's slap them in a body and we'll call it the Gemini or the Gemini. I don't like the Gemini. I like the Gemini. And we'll offer them as a limited low light red camera. They sold them out like in like seconds. The 20 were gone rapidly. And then everybody got them and they absolutely loved them because it did some fun things. It was a taller sensor. So for anamorphic, it pulled things better. It made it look a lot better. At that point, my guess is in their minds, Gemini is 5K. They didn't want to sell a 5K sensor. They thought, why go backwards? That was definitely one of the big things that Red always was about, was we never go backwards. So because it was only 5K, and I'm telling more of the story here of how it basically blew apart their entire model that they had, which was they had, at DSMC2, they had their full-blown camera core, which had all the ASICs in it. Then they had a stripped-down version that had fewer ASICs in it, which allowed like the Scarlet W, which was 5K Dragon. And then they found with 5K, you only needed the processing power of that stripped down unit to get the full capabilities out of the sensor, because you're dealing with 5K as opposed to 8K. So they decided then, they had come out with the Epic W, which when they put the helium sensor in the stripped down hardware, and it was, a lot of people say that it was like software disabled. It was not. There were fewer ASICs inside, and those ASICs were really expensive. So they had the Epic W there that did 8K, but it could only do 8K 30 was the maximum speed, kind of like a Murano, weirdly enough. So here comes, they had helium at 8K. Full bore was 8K 60. They had Scarlet W, which was 5K 60, right? Was it 5K 60? Pretty sure. Yeah, I think so. Then you had Epic W with 8K 30. And here comes Gemini 5K 100. So it can shoot 100 frames a second at 5K as opposed to it's competing. Now they're trying to price these. So you had helium full bore at like 30 grand. You had Epic W at 25 grand. I believe that's right. Y'all check me if I'm wrong. And then you had Gemini coming in at 20. And it just got people bent out of shape. I do need to check to see if the Wi-Fi got any better. No one's complaining about the image anymore, so it must be the iPad doing it. Interesting. So that's when this is all, it's kind of funny, this is all around the same time, magically, that I burned up my Dragon, my DSMC-1 Dragon. And I didn't want a Scarlet W. And I was talking to Jared, and I was like, I don't want the Scarlet W. I want what I had, but I didn't want to buy the magnesium, which allowed the Dragon to be at 6K, but it had some limitations. And he said, well, if you can hold off a bit, then we're going to do something here. And we'll do that. And that was DSMC2 Unified. Basically what they said was, no more. We're not doing Raven. We're not doing Scarlet W, because all those had the smaller ASICs. We're not going to do Epic W anymore. We're going to build one body. That's it. It's got all the ASICs in it. And then they would throw in the Dragon, the Gemini, the Helium, or now the Monstro. So that disrupted again, because now they need to price tier. They were going to introduce a new Dragon X, which would give us Dragon, and they were going to price it at like 15. So I think the prices were actually higher than what I said earlier. The DSMC2 Unified is where they did those 15 for Dragon, 20 for Gemini, 25 for Helium, and then 35, I think, was Monstro. Yeah, but it set off this weirdness, because when he talked about Dragon X, he says it's 5K Dragon. And what I had learned was there were only 3 Dragon sensors that were really ever made. And there was a 8K, there was a 6K, and there was a 4.5K. So Scarlet W had a 6K sensor in it, Dragon. It was the same Dragon 6K that they've been making since DSMC1. So when Dragon X comes out, they did cripple it. They crippled it, and this is an assumption here because I don't know for a fact, but it's pretty easy to figure out, that they didn't want to have a 6K Dragon at 15, a 5K Gemini at 20, an 8K at 25, et cetera, et cetera. So they, yeah, please. So they crippled Dragon X with 5K. Shortly afterwards, was it 9-10 months later, they came out and they said, we're going to let you have 6K with a firmware update. And then I got my 6K back, because it was funny, because I was like, why can't I have my 6K Dragon? I was told, oh, absolutely not. and that's why. So the reason Gemini existed was 100% for a space contract that they only needed a handful of them for, and it got so, like, they loved it so much that they brought it out. And thus, that's why Gemini exists. I just moved it here, but this iPad is conflicting with this Wi-Fi. It's destroying the... Is that why the image was... Yeah. And we had to figure that out live, apparently, because, that's what we do. But apparently it's great now. I just can't use my iPad, so I'm all by myself. He's not going anywhere. Oakley, stop. Stay. You stay. All right. Go on. Sorry, the wifey was here. They wanted to know what happened to the beard. Yell out why I shaved it.
Because I wanted it shorter.
If you didn't hear that, she said, because I wanted it shorter. Don't let him out.
You stay.
Jacob says, I'm coming from illustration. When I see a trend of a lot of cameras coming out with warmer tints of colors, life, the more emphasis on compressing value scale in the midtones. Let me finish the sentence. Continued, it worries me. I know the impact of an image is in the graphic and in the simplification of emphasis on the graphic. I don't want compressed values. I want the whole scale so I can design it. I think you continue further. People online trying to explain that there's not enough space to do an EF to LND speed booster. That's absolutely false. So L and RF are identical in depth to the sensor. And it is, E is 2 millimeters out, Z is 2 millimeters back, and L and RF are in the middle. So there should be identical amount of space. But I have to believe it's because there's just none out there in the market. Why is this brightening up? There's a trick in illustration to compress your mid values as well, but that shouldn't be the emphasis. There's highlight, the roll off is great. Just give me contrast and punch it. I want crisp highlights with a lot of detail is what I want. And maybe I'm just the only one, but everybody always sacrifices the highlights for everything else, because people see the noise and the shadows and they're like, oh, it's so noisy. Put a frickin' noise filter on it. It's not the end of the world. But highlights, you can't ever get those back. Boop-a-doo. At the end of the day, my mind goes wow when looking at Gemini footage. It is equal to how I know John Singer painting and the copy. It's so my belief was always that Gemini was the closest to Dragon in my mindset and visual for skin tones. I thought Gemini looked really good. But I thought Dragon looked better. To me, Komodo X looks in between those two. And Gemini was really close to Dragon. Dragon to me is still the king. But I think Komodo X is within like 2% of it, that it's almost not discussing. And I think Gemini is maybe 5% or so, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. It's definitely not gospel. I don't want film emulation cameras. I want storytelling cameras that allow me to make decisions. That's what the Gemini does for me. It gives me all the tools. Well, that's Red in general. Red in general is, let me give you all of the image. You manipulate it how you want to. The Gemini was created to debunk flat Earth. You don't spend that kind of money for a green screen shoot. Yeah, it's true. It's funny, the first Gemini project that I had worked on was I was just helping a friend do some rotoscoping on green screen, because they used a Gemini and they used it with such low light, they didn't have a very high shutter. And so on green screen, and the hair, Oakley, get away. The hair was all over the place in this green screen, and it was hell. Also, I want my reds red. I agree with that. Jacob, to me, the number one tell on any movie up until very recently is to look at brake lights on cars. Because when the brake lights aren't red, I mean, I can tell what it is. I can tell the camera by the color of the brake lights. I want the scientific colors back. Full stop. Stream looks good. Man, that sucks. It means I can't use my iPad. I have no idea what's going on in life. Yeah, exactly. I Lord's Lord's I can't even pronounce it. I'm sorry for that, but yes, exactly. They are L and RF are exactly the same. I don't understand why that be. My guess is there's only a handful of people with L's, and if there wasn't a clear indication of that, it's that Pixis is available in something other than L. Oh, that was interesting. I agree. Gemini is my favorite after Dragon. Yeah. Where do you put Komodo X in there, Ollie? Do you think it's in between the two, or do you think it's behind Gemini? I know you don't think it's above Dragon, and I don't think it's above Dragon. Gemini was my dream when I started. What did you call that dog? Oh, Oakley. I didn't name it. No, sorry. Well, I can put on the puppy cam now. I have to point it at the puppies, but there's Oakley. That is my grand dog. I guess it is. He hangs out with us. We babysit him during the day. Man, you guys, no, I'm not going anywhere. I was just going to adjust the camera, but now you get. Oakley is really good about, hey, look, I'm a male dog. Did you know? Let me show you. Speaking of space, isn't the easiest way to debunk that we didn't land on the moon the inverse square law? Good luck lighting that much land with one source in 1969. Huh. I'm just trying to think of that one. Was there a light in 1969? The carbon arc lights were pretty bright, but not that bright in 1969. Yeah, I always find those. Well, now the dogs have all left. I guess they'll go back to me. I always find those really intriguing. To me, the most intriguing part, and it's hard to explain to people, is why is it we went there in the late 60s, early 70s, and then we never went back? I mean, I get it. We did it. So now what? And I have a fun thought. I had this thought today. Don't make it political. So don't put politics in it, because I believe politically it would be world. And I'm not specifically talking about SpaceX here, but let's say there was a private company, and I'm literally not talking about SpaceX, 'cause this is not their purpose, but let's say there was a private company that said, we don't like what's happening on Earth. Nobody does what we like. We want to start our own colony, and they want to launch to Mars. Who owns Mars at that point? Because if somebody else goes there and is inhabiting it, isn't it theirs? I mean, isn't that how the Earth kind of exists today? Our borders is 100% because of war, basically. So if somebody goes and sets up a colony there, who owns Mars? Who gets to decide what the government's going to be or what have you? And because of that question is really to the actual question, would every country on the planet try to stop people going to Mars? Now, the reality is it's not going to be a hugely successful endeavor, because Mars doesn't have anything on its own. You have to make it all. But I just found that really interesting. Who owns Mars? No one owns Mars, but I guarantee you every country thinks they do. And no country can say, it's for everyone, no one can claim it. Okay, that didn't work so well on Earth. So, yeah. Thought that you said ugly. When the Pixis starts shipping, if the demands start growing, we will get more options. I used to think the L-mount Alliance is a game changer, but Literally do nothing to make it attractive. So here's the problem, room, and I'm not sure if you've heard me say this in the past. Sony has E-mount, Nikon has Z-mount, Canon has RF mount. None of these companies have any reason, have any desire, have absolutely not a thought in the world of changing their mounts. The reason is they all make lenses. That's where their ecosphere comes in. That's where they make more money. They don't just make a camera, they make lenses as well. And because of that, they make a little thing called profit. So none of them are going to switch. And that's why L-Mount Alliance, unless there's a manufacturer of lenses that makes only L-mount lenses and there's something that everybody wants, and on top of that, there's a camera company that makes a camera that everybody wants and it's only available in L-mount, then maybe at that point it could possibly happen. But the flip side of that is, if L-mount being like an RF, you could adapt it to almost everything else, why does it matter? If someone like Red had adapted the L-mount as early stage, maybe we'd got a real good. I don't agree. I don't think that would have been the case. I do think that Canon greatly benefited from Red choosing RF. Well, licensing RF. There would be no property tax. You would think that, but you literally have to survive in a bubble. You have to have a dome there and everything inside there to support your life is provided by somebody. There's property tax there, I promise. You got to think about it here. You could disappear into a forest. You could survive if you knew what you were doing. There is natural resources. There's not any life-sustaining natural resources on Mars. No one owned land on Earth at one point. History will repeat itself. It's true. It's true. And you know, the funny thing, you know, you get people that say, oh, you stole this land from so-and-so, you stole this land from so-and-so. History is literally that. Every single group, country, whatever from society today took property from someone else. That's how it existed. Like you said, no one owned land on Earth. You just kind of existed. And then, yeah, Martians are the American Indians. I don't know about that. Indians like air. They really enjoy that oxygen. And there's not any. There's very little on Mars. I'm just so tired of this weird fetishism of anamorphic filmic stuff. I love vintage anamorphic stuff, but I think right now, real good artists borrow, great artists steal. It's true. It's that's definitely a known quote, and a creative never finishes anything; they simply abandon their work. That's another thing I've learned about it. I agree with you, Jacob. There's a push to make everything, and there's not everything. Lenses are a character. I've said this for 8 years now, and I was not the one that coined this phrase. It's just lenses are simply a character on. Hey, Bear DP, how are you, bud? Hello, Mr. Simon. How are you? A character supports a story. You don't have a character by itself. You can't go and get an anamorphic lens and go, I need to write a story for this lens. I mean, you could write a story that highlights the lens, but the lens is not going to give you the story. Your story will give you what lens matches with it. I hear you, Jacob, but I also completely welcome all of these budget-friendly lenses. We've got a lot of them out there. I like anamorphic. I like some types of anamorphic. I do not like the in-your-face flares. I literally believe J.J. Abrams ruined it for everybody. it just killed me. My favorite thing, I enjoyed the Star Trek reboot. I enjoyed it. It had a lot of lens flares, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's a lot. But it was when somebody recreated it, and they said this is what it would look like without lens flares. I was like, oh, yeah, interesting. But I do welcome all of these lenses that we're getting in the budget space. And that includes these right here. Hey, that's a lens cap that doesn't exist anymore. Yep. There we go. Hey, it landed butter side down. So these right here, the Surays, the Nightwalkers. This review will be up on Tuesday. These are some. The wrong lens cap. These are some pretty surprising lenses. And there's been a lot of, some people say, you're a little late to the party. Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I was a little early too. I had some early engineering samples of those lenses, and there were a few little issues on them, and they got me a full production set, and a lot of those issues are gone. But you're talking about lenses that are like, what, $400 a piece? That's incredible. And they're coming out with more. And that's what I really like, is there's a set of 5 of them now. Incredible. I welcome that a lot. I have a set of lenses showing up. Hello, Mr. Fortin. How are you? I have a set of lenses showing up on Monday I'll be reviewing that are also very budget friendly. Let's see what the Instagram says. As an art form, the goal is always to push the culture above all else. Very rare to see artists get their flowers while they can still smell them. I like anamorphic because it sparked innovation, which makes storytelling and filmmaking at a high level more accessible. The high level is interesting there, to the point where is a whole film production package even needed anymore? No, it's not. But it never really was. The only thing that mattered is you had to have high quality this, high quality that. If you had high quality audio, you had high quality anything. And high quality was always for the time. That's all you needed. Now, it is the case where today you can literally buy a single camera that would give you higher quality than everything 20 years ago. That's just life. It's a tool. Optics are a character. I mean, to an extent, the sensor is a character. And choosing the right camera can tell your story differently. It really can. Hoy says, one thing about anamorphic flares is that they are really unnatural when they're super saturated blue and otherwise muted color. I agree. I was a huge fan of blue flares, mostly because they were all muted. All of the flares from anamorphic back when, they were all muted. And so there was a blue there to it, but it wasn't blue, and J.J. Abrams just really, I mean, he blew it to the point now where I want ever so slight amount of streak, and I want it silver. I want it neutral. I don't want any color to it. I want a slight amount, but I want all the funkiness. This is all I want out of anamorphic. And I think Nikon is the perfect company to now own Red. I think Nikon knows that they can now sway the market again, doing what they're known for, truer depiction. Yeah, I think what I would describe Nikon as, it is a deep pocketbook with deep roots and history for accomplishing things that can help escalate a company like Red. Sony has Sony, and Canon has Canon, and Arri is Arri. They have a long history and roots, and they also have a very small market that they focus on. Red was a startup with a small market that they focused on, and it was kind of tough and rough for that to happen, but they quite succeeded in it. And I think Nikon is going to bring a lot to that. And if y'all didn't see that video I posted yesterday, late early in the morning, early in the morning, yeah, on how close the Z8 the Z8 to the Komodo X and the V-Raptor, the V-Raptor Super 35, how close Nikon, the Z8, how close it matched was pretty astonishing. The color quality that you can get out of these Nikons with those new LUTs, graciously, ultimately provided by Phil Holland, which is, our beloved Phil. He was the source behind those LUTs to Nikon, and apparently Nikon tweaked them a little bit. But it's that color history and knowledge asked for from Nikon to help everyone understand that Nikon is serious about Red. And yeah, it's a lot. So true. I don't know what's true. So if I go to Mars first, I might be able to claim certain land, and then you come to my land with a bigger, yes, you could take, that is correct. However, typically, knowledge is gained from your surroundings. I want to phrase this properly so that we don't start any conflict. I'm not trying to say one thing over another, but if you look at wars that have taken place over, let's say, the last 50, 60 years, actually they go back almost 100 years, in certain, the hell? Well, yuck. I hear. Certain regions of Middle East area, there have been wars that have been started on lands, and ultimately every single time the conflictors lose. Why? Because those people who live there have lived there. They know it forwards and backwards. You gain an advantage by being there. So those on Mars would gain an advantage of being there, while those on Earth would gain an advantage of technology and everything afforded here. In the end, I mean, you could just literally just launch a missile over there to Mars, knock out the dome, and you won. But then what? I mean, it's an uninhabitable planet. It's still cool, though. Many will claim that they can tell the difference between 60K Ari versus budget cinema camera. This rare and same goes the best storytelling entirely because the general audience can care less. I mean, the truth is, I would not want to see 8K as 8K. How do I phrase that right? I don't want to see 8K sharpness. I want to see 8K resolution. Sharpness is what most people call video feel. It just feels video. It's super sharp. You could take a 6K red and an 8K Sony, an A1, and you compare the two, the Sony will look sharper and absolutely just mind-bogglingly sharp. However, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. Doesn't feel good. The reds will feel softer, but they will feel more organic. They will feel, and there's plenty of others. Aries will feel that way too. An Airy Alexa, Alexa LF, Alexa 35, even the Alexa 65, they don't feel sharp. They don't feel high resolution. I mean, they're not necessarily high resolution, but they don't feel that high resolution. What they feel is organic. They feel normal and natural. And that is more important in my eyes, in my storytelling, than it is sharpness. Z-mount on red could be. I agree. I think the real win, and it's just a question of if they would do it, and that is Z can be converted to L, can be converted to RF, can be converted to E. And Nikon right now is the only company on the planet that has a license for both Z and RF. Your signal just said no again. Let me turn this one off. It will be resolved next week. I promise that. Great talent with tools will always do better from real than a great tool in the hands of talentless hands. Absolutely. And I encourage everyone to go watch my 10 things you need to consider before you consider a camera. Cameras are easy. They really are. You can spend a couple of $1,000s and get an incredible image. But there's 10 things in front of that matter way more. Story, acting, sound, lighting, your set decoration. All of this plays massive importance. Because guess what? If your set deck sucks and your camera's pretty and your sound is awesome, you have the cleanest image on the planet, and your story is killer, it's not going to support. Your story has to be supported by the character, and everything is a character. Too much resolution is unnatural. Yep. Hoy, is it true that the smaller the flange distance, the easier it is to make a lens mount adapter? It's not the smaller, it's how close it is to the sensor block. So, we'll take some Scotty's smoked pepper right here. And let's say this is the sensor block. See, it's 16:9. See? Looks just like 16:9. And it's sitting right here. EF sits out about this far. So this being the back element of the lens. You know, I could just be smart, stay. How about I just grab a lens? So we take the sensor, and we take the beautiful Sirui 16mm lens. EF would place the lens about this far apart. And you can tell that because, well, I mean, if you look at an EF to RF adapter, you'll find that it's about that big. I wish I had one that wasn't on the camera. So that's EF. PL is about right there. It's a little bit further out. Now, mirrorless gets rid of this giant gap in between. So we can now put it like right there. This is Z. This is RF. And that is E. So we're talking about just this distance. But by taking this distance and bringing it down to this distance, you can now get the performance in this glass, this size, that it would take a design this big. This is a PL, and this is an RF. Same close capabilities, not the same lens, not necessarily the same. Well, here's an adapter. Here's a Z. This is the Megadap Z to EF, by the way. Excellent. This is this is. I hate Nikon. I don't hate Nikon. I hate that I have to turn it backwards. This is the thickness of EF to Z. RF would be ever so slightly less. All right, fine. Fine, I'm doing it. I'm going to pull it off. All right. Hopefully you can see this. Can you see the slight? I'm going to hold it still so that the pixels catch up. There's a slight thickness. So the Z, okay, thank you. The Z is further out than the RF. And the reason is that, well, this is going to EF and this is going to EF. The Z sits closer. The design spec sits closer to the sensor than RF does, which would be a little bit further out. So there's a lot of advantages in these mirrorless designs because you get so much more. You're so much closer to the lens that it takes smaller elements closer together to equal the same performance of an EF glass. Was there a question in there that I answered, or did I just go way off on a tangent that nobody asked about? Oh, it was Hoy. Is it true that the smaller flange distance is easier to make lens mount adapter? So the Z mount. So the other thing is going the wrong way. So the other end is the opening. This is the throat of your adapter. Let me grab this adapter real quick. Again, I don't have my top-down camera, but it's hard to see. But if you look really closely, hopefully, I'll hold it still. This Z is bigger in diameter than the RF. And so what that really boils down to is that the Z is wrong way. The Z is closer to the sensor, which means there's more room to adapt to PL and the other types of lenses that you're adapting to. Yeah, that's over. If you're just talking about, if you're only talking about like Z to Z, then it doesn't matter because they're designing their lenses to fit into that space. Okay. Any thoughts on DZO Arls? I have not played with them yet. I talked to them about playing with them. I just have, right now, I've got another job next week, and then in 2 weeks or 2 weeks from then, I have that big job, as well as everything that's happening that I will allude to at some point. It's taking all my time, so I don't want to get any more lenses really in here to review because I won't be able to give them the appropriate time for, a fair review for you all. I sicken the mounts. I think the best solution for Blackmagic design is to take a note from Canon Infinity, make a mount shorter than anything, and sell high quality. That is reasonable. However, Z mount is so freaking close to the sensor. It's going to be really hard to do that. And I think Nikon was really thinking ahead when they came up with theirs, because their throat is bigger in diameter and it's closer to the sensor, and that means they have the most amount of room to adapt. But it also means they have the least amount of room for NDs in between. What's the consensus on the best budget anamorphics currently? It depends on what you want. So the most affordable, like crazy anamorphics would be the Blazar Remus, but they suffer from mumping quite a bit on full frame. If you're running on a Super 35, the mumping will be towards the extents and not be near as bad. But those lenses are like $1,000 a piece. There are some, nope, can't say that. Right now, the Blazar Remuses are the, I'm not going to say best, but budget anamorphics, yeah, they're really good. Also, the Atlas, well, the which ones? The others, the 1.5s. Those are fairly budget friendly, a little pricey. It would have been amazing if there was an actual Star Trek alien who was just lens flares. What are you? I am the lens flare. And then they would call us ugly bags of mostly water. Watch the way P.T. Anderson uses anamorphic lenses. Those Arls look so good. They do. I also like the Laowa. They both of those look really cool, as well as there's another one coming from another brand that's really got some good clout right now that looks really good. I almost got the Nightwalkers when I was planning on staying on Fuji. The Nightwalkers are really cool, but they can get gross. Don't get me wrong. When you're at 1.2, if you're trying to be sharp and pretty and exact with at T12, they're kind of gross. But if you're trying to destroy the bokeh, just make it crazy, make it wild, and you're close focused on that, then the Nightwalkers open up into a whole new category of crazy. And it's crazy good. Now, I will say that the newer ones, like the 75, the 16, they're quite sharp, actually. Like, way sharper than I was expecting. The 75 is pretty daggum sharp. Carlos Quintero just put out a sweet video on those lenses. Yes, if you know me by now, I rarely meet deadlines. I basically tell them my deadline is what I'm going to do to them. And I know that I think they wanted some stuff out for IBC. Mine's coming out on Tuesday. That's what I'm doing. But I spent a lot of time with these lenses, and they're pretty interesting. Just got the best the B set of the Remus. Really enjoyed the A set. Yeah, I tend to agree. Totally lost my brain. With what's his name? Our buddy with the A and the B set and all the Remuses. Why am I blanking on him? I feel so bad now. I blank on everyone's name because I don't remember names. I remember situations. I think the new 50 looks, the new B set looks way better than the A set. And I think they learned a lot on the A set and put them into B set. And who knows where they go from here. We often talk about equipment here. What about jobs for people? We're experiencing a strange period up north. Many large companies, but good ones, who are struggling. How is it for you? I have been struggling quite a bunch. I've been very vocal about it on here. that I have not worked near as much as I had planned. I have not worked near as much as I have needed. However, this month has been quite extraordinary, and I am grateful and thankful, and I appreciate it, every single bit of it, but it's kind of wild. LA has been shredded with lack of work. It's really sad for my friends out there. Scott Lewis, would it be better to save for a Komodo X or get a used sub 4000 red Komodo 6K? My opinion, Lewis, is that if you're looking for something that's going to last you several years, I would hold for the Komodo X. The reason is Komodo X fixes every complaint that people had on the Komodo. And the complaints were that Komodo didn't do enough of this. It didn't do enough of that. Not enough frame rate. Not enough capability in the camera. Not enough audio. That was me. Komodo X solves all of those. And so I tell people, if you're on the fence between them, save your money and get the Komodo X. When I can adapt my Leica glass to a Nikon body, that would be a sweet day. Hopefully it's soon. I haven't looked at that one, Brandon. I don't know what those flange depths are. It might be interesting. Lewis, I'm getting a Gemini over a KX. That's all I know. I mean, we like what we like. You can. There are adapters for the Z mount to Leica M. But he doesn't have Z. Also, I don't need Komodo X for arrays. This is true. And arrays, you're not typically going to be shooting in higher frame rates. I will look into the Gemini to see what that camera is all about. It's a pretty cool camera. It really is. The only thing I will say is there is, I can't show you, like Red Control Pro is a game changer when it comes to controlling DSMC3 cameras. And you can't do that on DSMC2. There was full control, but Red Control is a whole other level. The other thing about DSMC2 and 1 is they're not making media for that anymore. So there's a bunch of media out there, but media is the thing that will dwindle down because no one else could make media except for one company, the long takes. So the finite amount of media exists out there, and they're not going to update firmware to allow anything else to work. So at some point, you're going to be in a situation where you won't have media to be able to shoot on that camera. Whereas when it comes to Komodo, you can just go get you a nice pro grade and make it happen. Nor for streaming. Rumen. Sorry. But I'm an L mount Leica glass. M mount rock is basically everything. Yep. Okay. To be honest, I don't see why wouldn't Z mount, and is the largest mount, it should be possible. No, it's the only restriction on Z mount is licensing. It's the only restriction. Looks like not enough space for internal NDs. That's the short flange distance is ideal for still cameras. Yeah, internal NDs needs more space. It's true. At some point, someone's got to figure out how to coat an OLPF with an ND. The RF apparently have enough space since Canon's just managed to put out 10 stops of ND. kind of lied that they can't put, there's no room. It depends. It's not necessarily a lie. You don't know what technology is available to them because there are patents a lot. There are a lot of patents in there. So you can't just assume that they have the ability to do what others can do. Fun fact, the Starry Night was painted in Arles. Oh, okay. Very nice. Blazars all day. They make the Mercuries look like rich fools. I don't necessarily agree with that. The Mercuries do not suffer from the mumping that the Blazars have. However, mumping is a visual choice. It is a character, and some people absolutely love it. And I'm not a huge fan of mumping, but we'll see. Mercury. Maybe the name is Arles because the lenses are super bright and you can kind of paint your own Starry Night. RF mount has a little more space. Yes, 2 millimeters exactly. Hola, hola, big bala. Blazars get wonky. That's the mumping. And mumping is this funhouse mirror distortion that occurs. That is on other lenses. There is a second set of optics in there that cancel that out. And so that's why you get on a really nice set of anamorphics, you get all the craziness that happens here, but you don't get that funhouse distortion. And it's literally a funhouse distortion. And basically the Blazars are embracing the crazy, and they didn't use the second set of optics to fix that, and thus it's cheaper. I can't pronounce the name. So C80, C400. What's the big boy coming down the line? Will Canon announce it at IBC? There is no big boy this year. C400 is the big boy this year. Yeah, that is the biggest one they're announcing this year. Corey, my name backwards. You are mean. Let me just tell you that right now, Corey. This is his name. Mumping is only in anamorphic, right? It can occur in others, but it is dramatized. Is that the right wording? When you squash an image, it makes it appear way more. Are lens manufacturers producing for Z mount? Some, very few, but more now. And I bet more will definitely open up. Airview says Nightwalkers are stupid soft. At 1.2, yeah. Except for the 75 and the 16, they're newer ones, not quite so much. Now, when you take all of the Nightwalkers to T2, they're beautiful. They're really nice. At 1.2, like I was saying before, it is crazy what happens in the background. I hear very good things about the Pavos. The 7 Artisan Sprite is another surprising gem of a cheap lens. Yeah. So there was... I'll be reviewing a set of lenses next week. I don't know when I'll be releasing that review, but the ones that are coming in next week are, for all intents and purposes, the originators of the lens style. They are the original ones that many are based on. If you look at very small compact lenses, that's these, and they're not necessarily clones, but they're based off of them. And everybody is doing it now. It's not something new. But the 7 Artisans have been doing some really interesting stuff lately, and I would like to get my hands on those actually myself. Success says, how do you feel about the back illuminated sensor compared to the sensor in the C300 Mark II? I don't mind back illuminated sensors. I think they're almost always controlled to a point where you have no idea. You gain abilities with a back illuminated sensor, cleaner abilities. From what I've seen on the C400 in the brief moments that I've played with it, it looked quite good. I do like the Blazar's softness too, don't get me wrong, but if people on the edges of the Remus, the stuff just falls apart. Yes, full frame Blazar Remus, the mumping will appear. Super 35, the mumping actually happens at the vast extents of the width of the picture. And it's not quite so noticeable. So it might be a little easier on the eyes. Wait, I only have one thumbs up? Of all these, only one thumbs? Oh, well, that's weird. 7 Artisans has really good full-frame cine lenses. I think it's called the Spectrum. Yeah, I need to talk to them because I've been watching a lot of their stuff lately. Yeah, that's what I ordered. Sell the A set, use the B set. Yep. Also got them in the silver flare this time. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Thank you for the recommendation. You're most welcome. And please understand, Louis, that I do my very best to not tell people what to do. I tell people my thoughts and opinions on things, and please use your own interpretation and your own decision-making in this, because we like what we like, and you may not like what I like. So take a look and see what you think. Airview says, Blazar weirdness is all good. Anamorphic lenses were always a hack to squeeze a bigger image from a smaller piece of film. And that came with visual trade-off, no flaws, just feature. But there are some truly beautiful and beautiful crazy, not too still crazy beautiful, which was an interesting movie. DP Shane Hurl, but there are some really nice anamorphics out there that are not crazy, but they're beautiful. Definitely some Panavision sets out there that just are remarkable. But anamorphic is, like you're saying, it's about how can we squeeze more from the same size. And you do that by doing some pretty gross things. And in the case of the Blazars, they're not correcting some of the gross. And it's funny because we cinematographers, we adore some of the grossness. And so do directors and other visual storytellers, because the grossness is a character. The crazy is a character that we want to add into our films. And, anamorphic is a wild craziness that happens in the background. It's like the K35s. I was not a big fan of K35s, but I had never done this with them. And I freaking love this. These sharp edges on the soap bubbles around lights. Oh my God, I love that. And that's a K35 look. And I love that now. Scott, can you tell us and show us anything? Just delete the stream error. They won't know. Ha ha ha. No, I can't. I would really love to. I was close to just picking up that case and showing you that case, but there's too much information on the case. I can't. There's also NDAs involved with some stuff, and they're sticklers these days. Hello. Smiley face with a tongue sticking out. Sticking out? There are no L-mount adapters to any other mount on B&H. Interesting. Did you release the video review for the new light you talk about in one of your recent streams? No, that one is coming after Tuesday. That's this one right here. How's it look? I mean, don't look at the resolution because that's my Wi-Fi, but let me just pause for a moment and go. How does that look? Is that nice? Do you like that? Is it moody? Is it soft? Does it feel color accurate? Does it feel nice? I have my opinions. You tell me. End all the things. Oh, E&D. Levels for the L mount. Look for the Mofage Pocos. It needs to have some great adapters for DZO, Metabones, obviously. The AFL, anamorphic. Brandon, something I haven't heard too many owners of the Blazers talk about. They have the most scratchable front element glass ever. Interesting. I would say that 100% has to do with their price point. Coatings are not cheap. Not at all. Cook SP3s. I like the Cook SP3s. I did a very, very detailed review of the Cook SP3s back in December. December. Michael says, hey, Scott, enjoyed your video about the new Nikon Red LUTs. Do you have any comments about using them other than what you already mentioned in your test video? Yeah, what I would say, I'm not a LUT guy too much. I use LUTs for inspiration, but for the most part, I'm putting my own grade on there. With that being said, the technical LUT is a game changer, and I don't use that term very often, for the Nikons, in that I can take the technical LUT, apply it to the Nikon in RAW footage. And there's a lot of discussion about that. They're like, yeah, it works on all these different ones. There's more data in RAW with the new processors with InLog than there is on the older ones that may work with those LUTs, but they won't work the same. The Z8, you put the technical LUT on it, and grading it at that point is just, I can do the same thing that I do to the Reds, and I mean like 95% it matches. It's quite amazing that LUT, the curve, the contrast, everything that they're doing on that. So what I would say is use that technical LUT to get your final image there. Where you put it doesn't matter to me. You can put it ahead or you can put it after, but put it on the Nikon footage and grade it like a Red. But also, you can kind of get it really close with some Red LUTs in there as well. Has Jared opened up his parking lot yet? I don't think so, because I'm going to review it when he does. Gross. The SP3 Cooks are a cash grab from what I can tell. They're not a cash grab. The way I would define them is they gave a budget to China and said, make some Cook lenses. Here's some specs, but don't make them too good. Don't make them destroy Cook, and give it the Cook feel. And they did. I don't think that they are I don't think they're gross. I kind of dig them. I said that in the video. I think they actually have a very pretty image, and I embrace the crazy. And that's something that I've changed over the last couple of years on what I thought was cool, which was not cool, and vice versa. I'm not so into the Sigma Super Surgical Sharp, lots of S's in there. Look now, I want the crazy. I want that look. Don't disagree with that. Hoy says, do you prefer color space transform over a LUT? Always. However, you can use a LUT to get a image into the same look in the same color space. And that's where it came out. That's why I was trying to show it. I was sticking them on the end. In the end, the effect is the same. When you apply that technical at the end, the tweaks you make here are going to be the same on a Red and Nikon. You just have more room to work with it there. So it's, I mean, it's going to be a little bit off. It's not perfect, but it's shocked me how well they did. And that's why I did the video the way I did. And I did not know how many other people had I didn't know how many other people had those LUTs ahead of time. I felt certain that a lot of people would have them, but I also felt pretty solid that nobody was going to do the comparison. That everybody was going to say, here's the Nikon, now we put the red LUTs on it, look how great it looks, all of that. I'm not knocking these people, I'm just saying this is what they're working with. I work for the other direction, and how can I bring the Nikons into the reds the best way? And so ABC comparison. I really tried to get the Komodo on there as well, but I didn't have another mount because I had this giant T-bar of lenses, and literally I was doing one of those moves and all the cameras go I was like, oh! And I had to grab them real fast. I got it all on 360 camera, so yeah, that'll be soon. I want some K35 so bad. Those purple and red flares are cool AF. Also, the Module 8 L2 tuner, which is that right there, gives you a lot of that. But also, look at those Cooke SP3s. They get you some of that that oddness out there. They also give you some CA, but we worry about the little things. I personally want the Remus for the anamorphic shots and the RLs for everyday lenses. That's pretty reasonable. Potentially, if I could afford the Dullens, look really interesting, as well as the vintage characters. The Dullens are cheaper, and I will have a set of Dullens here soon. I got to reach out, and I'm sure he's at IBC right now, but he was trying to get everyone else's to. It would not be fair for him to send me a 21 when everybody else is waiting on their back orders. So, we're being cordial and nice. I like the Dullens. I think they look pretty amazing. Really enjoyed the Cooke SP3 review. Nothing renders a Christmas tree whiskey like a Cooke. I don't know. The K35 look to me is just it's just cool. I love it. It's like Fruit Loops in a tree. Okay, don't show us anything. Don't want to get you in trouble. I really wanted to. I really did. I tried. Totally agree. It's as if Cooke knows that when there's it's very expensive to make a lens, when they try to do the right, it's not necessarily a flop. It's all about control. It's all about control. When you paused, your face kind of looked like a cartoon dragon. I just want 2 of each series, 1, 2, and 3 for Cooke, and then I'll rent the anamorphic Cooke. The anamorphic Cookes are pretty. They really are pretty. We did that on IC, and God, they were gorgeous. You get a little bit of everything with those. Totally agree with you. I'm sure Cooke saw that China companies were making knockoffs of Cookes, and Cooke decided to eliminate the cheap copy. I mean, you gotta embrace, or you lose. So now I mean, let's be honest. The Cooke SP3s have sold fairly well, despite what people think with the price point. There's a lot of sets that have been sold. There's still Cooke. Yeah, this is true. All right, let's get some last minute questions going through here. It's 6:15 on my time, and I really got to order an Ethernet adapter for this. Who's got some last minute questions or thoughts or comment? I can't even look on to see if it's anything on Rumble. I'm just sad that my iPad destroys the other. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. Let's see here. Hold on. We'll just, oh, where'd it go? On Twitch. We'll just ignore that. Let's see here. Wow, I guess I can't get rid of that one. Interesting. I have to go to Twitch to do that. I'll ignore that one. How's everything going? Everything's going really well. Everything is going way better than you could possibly imagine if you understood everything that's happening. So an Arl's review is coming. It will be coming, yes. Not soon, though. Anyone have friends that are selling Gemini Media? Well, Gemini Media is just mini mags. Should be lots of them out there, and yeah, you'll want to get the red ones, the 512s or the 1 terabytes, or the long takes. Sony FS7 still relevant? Yes. I mean, a friend of mine who's in the kind of downturn, is really big in the industry. No, I mean, really big in his area, and the downturn has affected him. He had to sell a bunch of his stuff, but just bought an FS7. And he made a big point about it that, sometimes going backwards will get you back where you need to be. And it's true. Will do. Thanks, Scott. Wasn't there G Drive making mini mags? No, it was, they just made readers. It was long take. The people that make the Orange Company. They make the long take 2 terabytes. FS 700 plus Odyssey just made me my day rate recently. Lots of old cameras are chugging on. I mean, they can. Kipper Tie, thank you. Kipper Tie, there we go. Yes, Kipper Tie made the long takes. I don't think they make them anymore, though. I think they're, hi. I think they discontinued them. Any other last questions? We got an Oakley here doing, well, he's right over here. You can't even see him. Let's see, let's look it around our, what do we see? Look at all those flashy lights. Right there, all kinds of flashy lights. That's all my Ethernet packets getting destroyed by my iPad. All that's some storage. This is all storage here that there's no lights on it, but it's storage. And then there's more over there. There's a lot of stuff here. You can kind of see back through. So just so you know, this desk last week was over there. You remember my movable walls? Yeah, they moved. And so we're at a different end of the studio space. And you can kind of see back there, that's that goes all the way back. That's a window back there. That's my solar for my editing right there. And my editing studio is back in there. And this is a whole other B-set studio. A lot going on. Oops. This was a great stream. Lots of good info and stories about Red and their cameras. Loved it. Well, thank you. Tyler says, could Kipper Tie bring them? I'm sure they could. The question is there a market for them? And I would honestly, when the market dries up, that's when you go back to them and find out, because they had the ability to add, I guess, to the firmware, or not add to the firmware, but they had a way to flag theirs that would be relevant in firmware. Right now, what I'm guessing is because the market, there's no more manufactured and people are selling them, the market for them was way down. The price of those mini mags is cheap. So I would buy twice as many as you think you need, because you can have some in reserve. Have a great weekend, Scott. See you next Friday. Yes, absolutely, Brandon. Thank you. Next time, when you show that angle, maybe place one of those special cases in the background and put a small light on it accidentally. I literally turned off. Let's see. What happens if I turn on some light? What was that? Did you bring a toy? Let's see. I'm going to destroy some lights here. No, I'm not, because I'm not on Wi-Fi. Wow. I couldn't turn them on. Okay, now I got ugly in here. Let's see. Oh, I turned it back on. There we go. So let's see. Oh, look at that! All that. Oh my God. What do we got back there? Oh my Lord. What is all that? Okay, y'all enjoy. That was it. I don't know if you got enough resolution there. I don't know what the frame rate was happening. So, it's up to you. FS700 Odyssey's very underrated combo. That was a really cool combo. A very capable camera. Very noisy, but very capable. Features on the new Aputure 4 terabyte. It looks amazing, yeah. Aputure have 2 terabyte mini mags in limited stock. Yeah, I think they stopped making them, but I would hope that they will keep the ability to make some in the future if they need to. But I meant to place one of the cases. You can't show it. I'm just saying there's stuff all around there. If you want to go back and freeze that and look around, God, I really hope I don't have some of that stuff in there. Let me look. Now, I could say that there's nothing in that shot, and you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to waste my time. Or I could say, oh my God, I shouldn't have shown you that, and then you'd spend hours looking at it. But I'm going to look for real. I think we're pretty safe on that angle, mostly because I literally have a table over here specifically for everything. All right. Any last questions? Any last comments? Any last anything? I'm going to get out of here and go order my docking station for my little MacBook Air here, because that makes me so sad that I disappointed so many of you at the beginning. I thought we were beyond that. It's safe. You can't see anything. Wink, wink. Let's see. Thanks for the stream. Absolutely, Jacob. Always happy to share the world with everybody. And yeah. See. Enjoy your night, Scott. Thanks for the great stream. Yep, absolutely. All right, everyone. Please have a wonderful weekend. We didn't talk about food this time, but please go. Don't just go eat something. Go make something truly enjoyable. And if you need some inspiration, go to That Dude Can Cook on YouTube and enjoy. I feel like he has my sense of humor, but he's also a professional chef, so he's better than I am. But he just did a chicken recipe. I can't wait to try it. Really good stuff. That dude can cook. He's also fun. And he has a shtick at the end. He beats up his refrigerator. It's awesome. Everyone, enjoy the weekend. Have something enjoyable to eat. And just, enjoy life. And, as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions. Bye, everyone.